Americans are confused about food. They want to eat healthier, but they don't quite know where to start. I'll show you how small changes can have a large impact on your health. For most Americans, moving toward a healthier lifestyle is as easy as this. Eat less, move more, include more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, and avoid processed foods, high in harmful fats, sugars, and salt. Hi, I'm Laura Davidson, registered dietitian and associate professor of nutrition at Community College of Philadelphia. Today on Good Nutrition Made Easy, we'll discuss food as medicine. Are there disease-fighting properties to be found in food? Some people believe that dietary recommendations are based in the negative. Avoid this. Watch out for that. Sometimes it seems that after dietitians are finished with what not to eat, there's nothing left that we are supposed to eat. But in fact, this is not true. There are many health-promoting foods that we should be eating. In fact, there are too many to cover in this 30-minute program. Some may be foods that you're very familiar with, and some may be new to you. We're going to take a look at a few of these amazing foods, but more importantly, I'll give you some rules of thumb that will help you easily add more healthful foods to your diet. What gives a food medicinal properties? Of course, research is ongoing, but we know quite a bit about some of these protective factors. For optimal health, we would like our blood vessels to stay clear and healthy so that the heart and brain receive the oxygen and nutrients needed. We would like our blood pressure to stay within the normal range so that the vessels are not impaired and the heart is not overly stressed. And we'd prefer to keep blood sugar in the normal range. Not only is high blood sugar damaging, but high insulin levels lead to damage as well. We want the negative effects of oxidation and chronic inflammation to be limited. And finally, we benefit from a strong immune system, which also keeps illness at bay. Quite often, these medicinal foods provide substances that perform one or more of those functions. They might act to decrease inflammation or relax blood vessels. They might lower the unhealthy fats that can clog our vessels. They may strengthen our immune system. It's really quite remarkable, but food can be medicine. This is never a reason to stop taking your medication without your doctor's guidance, but it is a reason to include these healthy foods as part of your lifestyle. Let's look at some of these amazing foods and talk about strategies for building a diet around them. We'll use the Healthy Eating Plate from Harvard School of Public Health to frame our discussion. Let's start with proteins. Simple rule: consume more fish. People who consume more fish live longer. The omega-3 fatty acids in fish are amazing. They lower triglycerides, prevent blood clots, keep your heartbeat regular, lower blood pressure, and defend against inflammation. Also, use plant proteins in place of animal flesh when you're able. Don't forget beans, which are full of fiber, proteins, antioxidant, vitamins, and minerals. They improve heart health. You can sprinkle them on salads, make a bean dip, or replace half of the ground meat in your recipe with beans. Make sure to include nuts as well. Nuts may reduce the risk of heart disease. Walnuts in particular have been shown to lower unhealthy lipids, fight inflammation and oxidation, decrease insulin secretion, and they're linked to a lower diabetes risk. Let's look at grains. The rule for grains is to make them whole. Whole grain bread helps reduce the risk of cancer, heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Let's stop a minute here and talk a bit about whole grain bread. When you are buying your whole grain bread, it's very important that you look for the word whole on your product. There are a number of breads out there, and I've been almost tricked a few times, that look like they would be whole and very healthy, but they're not actually made from a whole grain. So you do want to look for a product that says whole, and when you look at the ingredient listing on the label, you want to see that whole grain or rolled oats is the first ingredient. At least half of our grains should be whole grains, and in fact, many experts think that all of our grains should be whole grains. Another whole grain is oatmeal. Oatmeal has been shown to reduce blood cholesterol. We know that the fiber in whole grains decreases stroke risk as well. So again, when you're buying your pastas and your pitas and your rice, choose the whole grain versions of your favorite grain foods. Your plate should be half vegetables and fruits. 5 servings of these vegetables and fruits strengthens the immune system. Those who consume cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cabbage, and collard greens twice weekly had less lung and bladder cancer, less cognitive decline, less cholesterol buildup in their arteries as well. Let me say a few things about these cruciferous vegetables. I, for one, have become a very big fan of kale. Okay, I buy it fresh, and sometimes I buy it in the bag. It's something that I didn't grow up eating, but I now use it in everything from a salad, so rinse and use in a salad, to my favorite is to stir fry it in a little bit of olive oil with garlic, and it makes a wonderful, wonderful vegetable for the side. So kale and broccoli, all sorts of other greens make excellent additions, even if they are vegetables that you're not used to eating. When you go to the produce aisle, what you want to do is choose your produce to provide lots of different colors. What happens is that many of the disease-fighting components of produce are actually in the pigments. So when you see a cart full of oranges and dark greens and reds and deep yellows, then that's a very good key that you are choosing food that's very nutrient rich and also has disease-fighting properties. Many people that I work with have a sweet tooth, okay, and one of their major challenges is finding something that they can eat is sweet and that satisfies them. Well, the advice that I always give out is try to lean on fruits instead of those foods that have lots of added sugar. So any type of fruits is a good addition to the diet. One that looks especially healthful, or a category that looks especially wonderful, are the berries. Berries are awesome, and in fact, blueberries may reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. Eating high levels of the flavonoids found in berries could offer protection from type 2 diabetes as well, and the phytochemicals in berries lower inflammation. So throw berries on your cereal in the morning, mix berries in your non-fat yogurt for a healthy snack or a healthy breakfast. A lot of people add berries to smoothies as well. We can't forget oils. We now know that oils can be very healthy for us. The point is, or the rule is, to choose the healthy oils. So olive oil and canola oil are examples of very healthy oils. The oils found naturally in nuts and fish are very healthy as well. When you choose olive oil, it's best to choose the extra virgin olive oil. Studies have shown that olive oil lowers total and bad LDL cholesterol, decreases plaque formation that causes cardiovascular problems, lowers blood clotting factors, and provides phytochemicals that help with heart health. So it's a type of thing in the past we never thought of oils as being something that is healthy, but do remember to use these healthy oils. I am also a big fan of olive oil, and I've learned to use it in everything from a quick saute of a vegetable to sprinkle it on a salad with some balsamic vinegar, roast it in the oven and add it to vegetables that way. Lots of good ideas for olive oil. And finally, can't forget the seasonings. You're not going to eat healthy food if it doesn't taste good. But what's happened is in this country is that we rely on sugar and salt for flavor when there are so many other flavors out there that can be found from our herbs and our spices. And what's very interesting about these herbs and spices is that they add more healthful substances. For example, garlic. I've already mentioned garlic. Garlic is one of my favorites. Helps reduce blood cholesterol levels and the overall risk of heart disease. I use garlic in all sorts of things. I love the smell, for one, of garlic as you're cooking it in your olive oil. Ginger. Ginger contains disease-fighting antioxidants, and preliminary laboratory studies suggest the antioxidant found in ginger may help destroy cancer cells and block cancer-related inflammation. So that's really, really important. And then finally, curcumin, which is the main compound that gives turmeric its yellow color, is linked to all sorts of healthful effects, from a reduced risk of progression from prediabetes to type 2 diabetes, to restricting the growth of blood vessels that feed tumors, to reducing inflammation and arthritis and decreasing atherosclerosis development. Hard to even imagine from a simple seasoning that many people enjoy, some have not tried, so it's worth a try. Lots of healthy properties. And one other thing about these antioxidants that are found in seasonings, the studies typically look at food, so it is very important to remember, better to get them from food or the spices rather than running to the health food store and buying them that way. Can't forget chocolate, because there's lots of chocolate lovers amongst us. Dark chocolate is the way to go. And the reason that it has healthful properties is that the flavonols in cocoa are what gives it its power. And dark chocolate has been shown to be good for the brain. It decreases cognitive impairment, which is what happens in dementia, and lowers blood pressure as well. We've also found that insulin resistance, which is the problem in prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, also improves with dark chocolate. So you can get this from dark chocolate or cocoa powder, which many people use in their cooking or stir into milk for hot cocoa. And one last point about the chocolate. Portion still is important because it does provide a good bit of calories, so you want to keep it to a small square. Then finally, what to drink to have with your plate. Certainly water is probably your best choice. We also have found lots of good things coming out of the research on tea, black and green, but green seems especially great at many healthful properties. It may reduce the risk of certain cancers. So I'm surrounded by foods that act like medicine. The trick is to try to choose things that are less processed, closer to their whole or natural state, and include variety and try new things. When we come back, we will be working with some student volunteers and putting together a really quick and easy dish that you can use for lunch or dinner. Welcome back, and welcome to Dr. Brian Renna, Professor of Biology here at Community College of Philadelphia. Dr. Renna is going to answer some questions about exercise as medicine.
Absolutely.
So is exercise medicine?
Without a doubt. I mean, when you think about medicine, I think traditionally we think of the practice of treating and preventing illness. And I think our thinking has begun to evolve to include diet, what it is we're consuming, as well as behaviors such as physical activity, how much activity we're engaging in. that leads me to stand up here and confidently say that yes, exercise is medicine, that by engaging in certain behaviors we can both prevent and treat illness.
Wow. What are some of those healthful effects?
Well, certainly exercise, regular exercise can contribute to psychological well-being. You feel better following exercise. It improves your mood. People that have been diagnosed with depression or anxiety disorders are oftentimes treated with exercise. It can improve bone health, muscle health, joint health, and it can also go ahead and reduce the risk of developing diseases like heart disease or developing diabetes. And there's accumulating evidence that it can also decrease the risk of developing colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer. So
amazing
powerful
stuff.
Absolutely.
Better than any medication, actually. So, we just got finished with the Olympics. Do you have to be a trained athlete to get those types of effects?
Absolutely not. And to be quite honest with you, we tend to see more rapid improvements in individuals that are initially sedentary or untrained. Maybe they haven't been engaging in exercise, any regular physical activity for the last several years. They decide their New Year's resolution is to get in shape this year. They get up, they become more active. We're going to see changes and positive benefits in them sooner than perhaps we would in a trained athlete that's already achieved a certain level of fitness, and additional changes can sometimes be more of a challenge to come by.
Wow, that's neat.
Absolutely.
And if you are an untrained person, are there some tips for how to begin, or special cautions or recommendations?
I would always recommend you running it by your healthcare provider first, and just make sure that you get the go-ahead from them to begin to engage in physical activity. But I think if you're going from sedentary, you have been relatively inactive and haven't been doing any sort of normal physical activity, you can start with about 15 minutes a day of moderate intensity activity. You want it to be intense enough that you're getting your heart rate up, but you want to still be able to carry on a conversation. So start with 15 minutes, and you want to work your way gradually up to 30 minutes of that moderate intensity exercise a day, about 5 days a week.
Okay. And how about kids? We are concerned with the health of American children. Any advice there?
Absolutely. You know, I think the Center for Disease Control has come out and suggested that childhood obesity, adolescent obesity has more than doubled in the last 30 years. So this is really becoming an issue. And I find it with several little ones of my own. I find that children are getting less time in schools to be active, and I think it's more important now, especially in the home, for parents to try to find ways to turn off the TV, turn off the handheld gaming device, and get your kids outside and get them to run around. You know, we want to encourage kids to be active at least 60 minutes a day, every day of the week. So getting them outside, having them shovel some snow, but at least get out and play some tag, throw a ball around, find something that your child enjoys doing. They're little bundles of energy. It's just about finding the time to get them out there and get them moving.
So the parents and the children together, more or less. Okay.
Absolutely. I think it's important for parents to be role models. So don't just send your kids outside, but go outside with your kids and throw the ball, play some catch, kick a soccer ball, take a walk around the block. All right, a variety of things that you can do. And if they see you as a parent engaging in those behaviors, I think the children are gonna want to model that.
That's a great ideas. What about the other end of the lifespan, older individuals? Any advice as far as physical activity for people who are getting up in years?
Sure. I mean, certainly as we get older, the body changes. We tend to lose some muscular strength and endurance. We lose some of the mineralization of our bones. Bones become a little weaker. We tend to complain more about aches and pains and things of that nature. Certainly exercise training has been shown to improve muscular strength and endurance, even in older individuals. So, going to a weight room, or maybe getting some resistance bands and engaging in some resistance types activities can help improve muscle strength and endurance. Weight-bearing activities. Go out and move, garden, take a walk around the block. I know here at the college we have a half-mile indoor
I've seen
facility,
that,
the Spring
yes.
Garden strollers. I have several colleagues actually that walk that a couple of times a day. But just going out and being active, weight-bearing exercise, some resistance training, and we can see those same positive adaptations we see in younger individuals in older adults as well.
Okay. And lastly, one of the myths I run across is that individuals who are thin believe that they don't need to exercise. I hear that a lot. So the idea is that exercise is only important for losing weight. How do you convince individuals that don't need to lose weight that exercise is still important for them?
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, is too often exercise just is cast as this means of achieving perhaps a body weight, when the fact of the matter is that might be what we see kind of outwardly or what we see when we step on the scale, but what exercise does as a stress is it forces the body to begin to work more efficiently, effectively, to adapt in such a way to better respond to stresses that you encounter every day. And so yes, from an outward perspective, they may appear, somebody that doesn't exercise but is of ideal weight, they may appear thin, they may have an ideal weight, but they're not necessarily getting the benefits to the cardiovascular system, to the immune system that exercise can impart on the body. So I would still very much encourage anybody, doesn't matter if you perceive to be at an ideal weight, you still need to be active because there's a lot going on the inside that you don't necessarily see.
And thin or healthy weight does not necessarily mean healthy.
Absolutely. To be quite honest with you, body composition, your proportion of kind of fat mass to lean body mass is a very important indicator, sometimes a more important indicator of health than just purely weight.
Thank you so much. You gave us some great advice, and I will look forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We are going to put together a quick and easy recipe when we come back. Welcome back. I am joined by two very special guests. This is Karen Donaghy and Samantha Petruk. They are students here at the college, and today they're going to help me put together a delicious and nutritious dinner salad. This salad is a papaya, red bell pepper, and pecan salad with chicken. Karen and I were chatting, and she is a vegetarian, which is no problem because if you're putting together a dinner salad, you can do so without meat or poultry or fish. What would you throw in instead of the chicken?
Depending on my mood, I might opt for chickpeas, some quinoa, or potentially some fried tempeh.
All of my students are very, very busy people, so when we discuss healthy nutrition, we need to make it quick and easy. Samantha, what are some quick and easy and healthy things that you've included in your diet?
I've recently added avocados because of their high fiber content. They're easy to take with me, and I've added nuts. I could take little baggies of nuts, and always fruits.
Yeah, those are some great ideas. So it is untrue that good nutrition has to take a lot of time. So I'm going to put you ladies to work cutting and chopping. We've got romaine lettuce in our bowl. Romaine lettuce is actually more nutrient dense than the pale lettuce, such as iceberg. We have some roasted chicken in there, but as Karen said, we certainly can substitute that out for any protein source. Karen is seeding and then peeling a papaya, which takes a good bit of skill, so good for you. Papaya is very rich in vitamin A, beta-carotene form, and also in vitamin C. And Samantha has the red pepper, which is very, very high in beta-carotene, actually higher than the green peppers, and rich in vitamin C as well. So when you think about power foods, these are good ones. What I am doing over here is I'm going to chop up some garlic. The dressing for this salad is a dressing that's based in low-sodium chicken broth, has a little bit of garlic, a little bit of ginger. I've already squeezed the lime in here, and then we'll stream in some olive oil. As you transition to healthier dinner meals, and especially salads, keep in mind that the thick and creamy dressings are often a problem, so you do have to modify them. A little bit different in terms of the taste, but certainly no problem at all. And there's some wonderful flavors out there. How are we doing, ladies? Quick choppers there.
Okay.
I know that Samantha, I am aware that you lived in Italy for a while.
I did.
And you said you learned how to make amazing bruschetta.
Bruschetta, yes.
Tell us about that as we're chopping.
Oh, the families over there, they usually have gardens on their land, so everything is fresh, and they take time, 2 hours, to eat a meal. They eat very slowly. They have butter. They don't use butter. They use olive oil pretty much for everything, which is delicious, and garlic. So everything they eat is pretty incredibly healthy. Not a lot of meat. Their meat is mostly eggplant. They use a lot of eggplant instead of meat, which is I found really it was delicious.
So a different way of eating, and is it something you kind of aspire to as back on in this country?
It was hard to leave. It was really hard to leave, and yeah, I do. I like especially the time they took to eat. They were slow eaters, which over here, you kind of lean over your food.
We're all so rushed all the time.
Yeah.
I think one of the positives about a salad is that it does take longer to eat. The other, we've spoken in class about something called energy density. This is a low energy dense meal, which means it has few calories but lots of bulk. So you have lots of crunch, lots of chewing, lots of flavor, and volume. And what you should get from a meal like this is you should get satisfaction, and you should also not be hungry again in 5 minutes. Now, you're doing very well.
Well,
a papaya is a challenge.
Considering it's not very ripe, yes.
Okay, so I kind of gave Karen a challenge here. So we'll just get some of that in there.
It's coming along.
It's coming along.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
there you go. They are working as a team. In our dressing, we're going to add a little bit of Dijon mustard. We're going to whisk this up, and then we're going to put in the olive oil.
Oh,
Shouldn't cut toward yourself, I know, but
Okay.
okay.
Okay. And so again, this is lime base, low sodium chicken broth, about a couple of tablespoons of each. And then we're going to, can you kind of stream this in while I whisk? We're going to put the olive oil in, and it ends up being a couple of tablespoons. So we're going to whisk it together so we have this becoming kind of thicker and more dressing-like. Oh, I think that looks wonderful. Okay.
Okay. Looks good.
Very good. Little spot of honey. I don't know if you use honey. Still a sugar, by the way, but different flavor, a little bit of thickness. We'll give it a little tiny shake of salt. We've almost got this thing together.
Perhaps I should chop up my chunks. What's a little smaller? Is that probably better, I guess?
That looks beautiful. We're going to have to put that out there for the camera in a minute.
Oh my God.
The last step of this.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we will.
That looks great.
Boy, that does look good. Okay. So we'll put that in the center so the camera can
That one's not good.
catch it.
Wonderful.
We're going to put a little bit of dressing on this. Again, all healthy ingredients in this dressing. So we've got something that should add flavor. The other thing, a little bit of fat in your recipes. You mentioned avocado. It enables some of these phytochemicals and fat-soluble vitamins to be absorbed. So we're not on the mindset of no fat anymore. We want healthy fats, healthy oils. So that looks beautiful. And as a kind of a last touch, we're going to add some pecans on the top. If we toast them up in the oven, they become even more flavorful. And without creating too much of a mess, I did have some great helpers here. We've made a beautiful salad. Okay. And I don't know if you, and Lovely, and plenty of
Yay.
it should feed a family, a small family at least, or you can have some leftovers for later on. So we did good, ladies. Okay,
beautiful.
made
Thank
a
you.
nice salad. So thank you. Thank you for joining us here today. I hope you found some good information. If you have any other questions about the information on this program, feel free to contact the college. And remember, healthy food and exercise have medicinal properties. Add both to your lifestyle to stay healthy.